Namaste, dear listeners, and welcome to the Iowa channel Astro In with Abhi, Oneness in Astrology and Spirituality, bringing in awareness for Abhi. Now, if you haven't as yet, please click on the subscribe button, like and share this podcast so that many people may benefit from my deep insights. Now, I'm going to go straight into it. I've had a number of people message me with regards to the South African economy and what is my view on this astrologically. What are my predictions now? Dear listeners, I have done a podcast on the 2025 overview globally, not just in South Africa, but the changes that you can expect to happen this year holistically, from the education sector to the financial sector to obviously the overall weather patterns, the changes, the disruptions, and basically the collapsing of various systems to make new or make way for the new. Now, I'm going to do a bit of a recap, but I'm going to focus purely on the financial aspect of it because I mean it's everybody that have asked me this question, which points out to just the financial aspect of what's happening globally now. Before I go any further, please go and look up the podcast on 2025 general predictions globally that I've done in the beginning of this year. So, without further ado, let's go for it now. We must understand that there have been quite a number of planetary transits already that has happened and yet to happen this year. Now, for me, the biggest, the Pluto transit in Aquarius energy after 250 odd years. If you go back in time and if you look up the history when the last time Pluto was in Aquarius energy, we have seen a collapse, a death, and a rebirth of a whole new system. I've predicted World War III that's going to hit, and we are already going through it now. And why is it happening? Well, for various reasons, but mostly, purely for financial reasons. So, obviously, we understand that the Trump administration is looking at, you know, centralizing everything within their country. They're looking at cutting costing because they feel that they import more than they export, and they've got a huge trade deficit with various countries. So they're looking at making America great again by in-housing everything or housing everything within the economy instead of depending on other countries. So they've imposed various tariffs, secondary tariffs, which impacts everybody and but mostly the consumer, which is you and I. But why is this all? Why is it taking place now? We must understand that astrologically, it's happening because of astrological movements of the planets, and as the planets orbit the skies or they move in their respected signs, they give off a certain kind of energy. Which people know of, and these people all know about the planetary transits. They have their advisors, and they make the best out of it. This is how it's been done thousands of years ago. It's still being done this way. It'll always be done this way because the planets, if you understand how the planets work, you can make, well, you can live a very profound life if you understand how to make use of the planetary energies. But nevertheless, what's happening for you in this country, South Africa? What is happening for you? What is happening to your pocket, and how to better manage yourself financially so that you obviously overcome the storm that we are already in. When I say we already in, we have already been in the storm since January this year. Even though there have been some kind of changes that have only happened towards Feb and March with the Trump administration, why I say this in January? Because this is when Pluto moved into Aquarius energy. Now we must understand that this is a decentralization. This is a total reset financially. And what this means for you in South Africa, it means that we are going through some tough times. It means that whenever there is something new that's about to be born, the old has to go away. And with that change come a huge disruptance. And this disruptance not only comes in the form of your financial welfare, but most importantly, your mental welfare. Because it first starts in your mind, then it hits your pockets. The trouble starts in your mind. Now, if you are this person that's listening to this podcast, may have never hit you financially as yet, but it's been playing on your mind. And I think from last week, Tuesday or Wednesday, I've received about 20 odd messages. This is coming from WhatsApp, also from my monthly reports. It's the question, Abhi, is this a good time to do this? Is it a good time to do that? I need a new job. My company is closing down. They're retrenching. So I had a client that told me, I've just joined this job and now they're retrenching. We must understand why certain companies are retrenching, because they are acting out in haste. Some of them are acting out in haste. Some of them, they obviously forecasted and they realize they're not going to make a big profit at all, and it might take them years before they recoup their losses. So they might as well just cut down overall on operational expenses, and they are doing this. Look, who am I to say whether they're doing something right or wrong? Only they would know what they're up to. But astrologically, I can tell you right now that this is not the right time to make any changes. This is not the time for you to start panicking. This is definitely not the time for you to jump ship. If you're in a comfortable paying job, if you're comfortable in your job, it's not the right time for you to jump ships as well. Why? Because s- you cannot jump ships specifically because you think it will be better off elsewhere. Definitely not during this time, because the market is very very volatile right now. If you look at there's a VAT increase of 0.5%, there's tariff charges, things are going to go up, and when things go up, it affects you and I. And the profit margins may sometimes go down with certain companies where they don't want to increase their costing. Some of them are forced to, most of them are forced to. Some of them, they would like to keep the same costing. Therefore, they like to decrease in operational expenses, which is obviously staffing. Now, however they are doing it, you must understand that the companies that are still going through the wave, even though they are going through the wave, they are making necessary adjustments to be able to go through the wave. And in those adjustments, one of it, the biggest thing is cutting down on operational costing. And operational costing is the certain kind of roles that are in the company. For example, roles that are not a profit generating role, which is in sales, every other role is generally an operational expense. So they will try to cross skill you or cross skill people in the company so that they can reduce in headcount. You'll find that companies are adopting this approach more rapidly now, where they want to cross skill you so that they can obviously start to downscale on staffing in the upcoming months. This doesn't mean that you need to start looking for a new job. No, you should not panic, because if it's your company that is doing it, it's definitely another company that's doing it as well. I'm not saying you to stay in this job and obviously wait till you get retrenched. No. What I am saying you is that even though your company might be downscaling, you might not be affected, right? Definitely not. And you do not want to be in a position where you've left your employer only to find out that they've made certain decisions where they're trying to hold on to most of their staff, and you've obviously jumped ships, and now you're going through LIFO, which is last in, first out. We do not want to go through that. The markets has already been tight from 2020. A lot of companies are still getting out of the COVID havoc that it brought in. So a lot of companies are still recouping their losses. So this is not something for you to start. You need to start to panic. What you need to do is tighten on your expenses. You need to live on what you need and not what you want. You need to cut down on your vices. You need to manage your vices of desire. That's what you need to do. If you feel you don't need to eat this, you don't need to go out on the weekend, um, then go, don't just do it for the sake of. If you genuinely need that pair of sneakers, you should get it. If you don't need it but you want it, maybe you shouldn't. If you're thinking about trading in your car and getting something else, maybe you should just hold on to that and keep your car in a healthy condition whilst we wait for this tide to obviously calm. The tide is very high right now. You must understand, with changes come huge disruptions. It's general knowledge. You don't have to be an astrologer for this. Now, where the planets are right now, because we are impacted by Uranus in Taurus still, we are also impacted by Pluto in Aquarius. We are just coming out of the Mercury and Venus retrograde, but the full moon in Libra is opposing this year. So this is not a very friendly time. This is a very emotional time, a very scary time for everybody. And the best way to work with this year is to keep a very tight fist. When I say keep a tight fist, I'm talking about Well, I think the best way for you to move through this year, if you are somebody that is um, somebody that is in business, or somebody that is thinking of getting into business, or somebody that uh, is working in some kind of specialized role, it's best for you to do a D2 D10 reading with me, a 5 year or a 10 year report. You can do that with me. The number is 07633101118. You can do a 5 year or a 10 year report on what to do, when to do, and how to do, specifically when it comes to your career. But for most of you, I think it's a very important time for you to just hang 10, relook at how you spend your money, relook on where your money is going, manage every ounce or manage every expense of yours, note it down, and I promise you that extra 1,000 rand or 500 rand that you save every month will actually help eliminate a lot of weight that can potentially weigh on you in the upcoming months. I mean, if in 6 months' time, if you're saving 1,000 rand a month, it's 6,000 rand which you can use for anything later on that you need. Maybe starting up a sideline hustle later on. So you gotta understand that every small change or every sacrifice that you make, it creates a very big picture in the end. I think most of the people are focused on the bigger picture, and they never focus on the actual pieces of the puzzle. The pieces are the most important. Without the pieces, there's no puzzle. So move your focus away from the puzzle and focus on the pieces. The puzzle is a consequence of the pieces. So I hope this helped you, dear listeners. I'm going to do a full live uh, on this year, and this will be recorded on my YouTube channel. So I will send out a notification to everybody to have a look at that as well. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your patience during this time here. And thank you for understanding. Look, I'm very, very busy. So I might not respond to all of you immediately. But please do subscribe if you haven't, like and share this podcast. Jai Shri Ram, Om Namah Shivaya, Jai Shri Krishna, and Hare Bol. Goodbye.